Welcome to the 50th in a series of shows focused on Brookline as an age-friendly community. In 2012, the town of Brookline was the first community in New England to be designated an age-friendly community by the World Health Organization. Last year, the AARP also designated Brookline as one of its age-friendly communities. This honor was based on the work of the residents of the town, the select board, commitment to the town departments, and leadership provided by Brookline Can. Brookline Can is a volunteer network of people's ideas and actions that work on issues for residents of all ages. Viewers are welcome to join at brooklinecan.org. Our guest today is a local librarian, Ginger O'Day. And Ginger is from the Putterham Library. She's the supervisor of the Putterham Library in South Brookline. And we're going to focus a bit today on South Brookline. Since taking on a role in August 2023, she's focused on fostering and expanding adult and intergenerational programs for the South Brookline community. Programming such as the weekly gentle chair yoga, monthly Council on Aging book group, and a lot of other things from the Senior Center, from Council on Aging, and from the Putterham. Let's start. Welcome, Ginger.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us something about the library itself? Because
yes, I'll start a little bit about the structure.
Great.
So the main library, which is what maybe most people think of when we say the Public Library of Brookline, is that big, huge building next to Town Hall across from the police station in Brookline Village. We also call it the Brookline Village Library. It has 4 departments within it. So there's circulation, who will greet you when you walk in and check in and out your books. Reference, which will, you'll call and ask reference questions, help you with research. Youth services on the ground floor, they handle kids, teens, tweens, all of those programming and, day-to-day services. And collection services, also on the ground floor, but in their own space. And they are the ones who are working very hard, cataloging all of our books and other items. And of course, administration. So actually that's 5 departments, not 4. So administration is where our director and assistant director reside. So again, that's all in that big main library. And then there are the branches. So Coolidge Corner on Pleasant Street and Putterham here in South Brookline. And the 2 branches operate as their own departments. Like circulation or reference or youth services. So each department has a department head, and Putterham's is me. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, Putterham is it's really interesting because it's very, very different. You really feel like you see a library and a parking lot, and the stores right near, not far away.
Yeah, it's a neat little area. I'm really lucky to be able to come out here every day. I do hope more people, get to exploring the South Brookline area. But anyway,
I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
We have a concept, and that we've discussed that in the past, of the senior center without walls. And we also have another concept, One Brookline.
Yes, yeah.
Right. And I would really like to keep that in mind as we go ahead. What is it for everybody? Because Putterham is absolutely, there are 3 different branches. They have different things, but all of them are of interest to all of Brookline. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep that in mind.
Yes, definitely. And the Senior Center Without Walls is something I'm really excited to be a part of, because I have such a strong and cherished relationship with the Senior Center. And I know a lot of their programs and services would they love out here. I know that a lot of their patronage would probably love programs that are out here, you know, so connecting that and being one Brookline is important. I have definitely heard sentiments, you know, thinking of South Brookline as almost like another country, but it's not. It's really just 3 miles away from, you know, the more bustling parts of Brookline. So yeah, I am just very grateful for, you know, any opportunity to, you know, get the word out. And I'd love to talk more about our relationship with the senior center, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so as an organization, we highly value all kinds of community partnerships for our patrons of all ages, older adults included, and we have a special years-long relationship with the Senior Center. Our continued collaboration is definitely a priority of mine since I was recently named the official liaison between the library and the Senior Center. So since I came on as Putterham supervisor about 1.5 years ago, we've brought gentle chair yoga to them for Public Health Week in April, co-sponsored the amazing race and song program that they hosted in July that was widely attended and very praised. And just recently in November, we led an e-library information session all about accessing ebooks, audiobooks, and movies from anywhere with your library card, which is also something that I've done here. And I want to give a shout out to my colleague Jared, who ended up filling in for me that day because I was sick. But it's definitely something that we will hopefully bring back. I'd love to. And as the liaison, I do typically staff these collaboration programs at the Senior Center, with the exception of that one that I was sick for. Again, thank you, Jared Walski, my colleague in reference, for filling in. I heard the room was full, and we got great feedback, and I'm looking forward to doing something like that soon. And again, I regularly do that kind of thing here at Putterham too. So anyone who missed it, maybe in North Brookline, you know, stay tuned for at Putterham, and we do provide things like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Tell me more about Putterham, because again, a lot of people have probably never been there. A lot of
Yes,
from
yeah. I even
the
have
north.
colleagues, you know, who've been working for the library for like 6 years will come by and say, "Oh, it's cute. I've never been here."
Well, I've been
Um,
there, but
Yeah, so we've got 3 regular programs geared towards older adults of the community, and I'd love to talk about all of them. So Gentle Chair Yoga with Keith Beasley, the amazing Keith Beasley, who has such a huge following, well earned. You know, he's really got like a strong fan following here locally.
absolutely.
At least 10 years, I think this program has been running. It occurs weekly, every Friday here at the Putterham Library in our meeting room. And at the same time, it also takes place virtually over Zoom. So it is a hybrid program. And also on our YouTube channel, we have a few like old recordings that, you know, if Gentle Cherry was canceled, I like to send out, or if anyone just wants to do it on their own time, we have a whole playlist of old recordings, but every single week it is run live. People can attend from home or come in person. It's by far the most popular program here at Putterham. We regularly see upwards of 20 attendees in person and about 10 over Zoom, give or take. Our community loves Keith, and we're always getting excellent feedback on having an exercise program that's geared for seniors like this. It's also great to see the same patrons coming back week after week to socialize and share the experience together. You know, probably just as nourishing for the soul as the body. The program is really essential to the tight-knit community feel we have here in Brookline. I'm sure there's some patrons who have been, you know, trying not to miss a week for the whole 10+ years that we've had the program. I'd like to say this program wouldn't be as successful or as treasured as it is without Keith himself, of course. But also we have an amazing volunteer who we share with the Senior Center, Douglas Chen, who every week sets up the room and runs the Zoom side of things. Again, week after week. A hugely popular weekly program is a lot of work to run and maintain, especially when it's hybrid. So a huge thank you to both of them for doing such an excellent job and making it happen for our community, because it's all them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's really
And
good.
yeah, so that brings me into Wisdom Cafe, which is our newest. So Wisdom Cafe is our newest regular program that I started in September. So it hasn't been going that long. But my first year on the job here as the branch librarian, I was getting questions, suggestions, recommendations very consistently from patrons about doing just a senior social type program. Not everyone's into exercise or able to do certain things. Not everyone wants to read the same books as everyone and join a book group. So just a laid back social where attendees can just show up, grab a coffee, catch up with their neighbors, and maybe ask me any questions and familiarize themselves with their local library. Could really be something valuable for the community. So that's the cafe part, because there is coffee and there is pastries. And then the wisdom aspect came out of this idea for us to have a special guest each session, making it kind of bring that educational aspect to it. Someone from within the Brookline community who we could highlight, and they could share their wisdom on their particular area of expertise. So we've covered like a variety of topics so far, even just starting in September. So anyway, attendees can ask these guests questions, and they could learn something new in a very casual and laid back setting where they can also connect with and, learn something new, connect with neighbors, and, make friends and get to know me and get to know the library. So Wisdom Cafe is a monthly program, and it does take place on the first or second Friday of the month at noon, right after Gentle Chair Yoga. So the idea is that we already have a good number of folks out attending Gentle Chair Yoga, so they don't need to make a whole second trip. Just hang out while I go and grab the coffee and pastries, and we'll be getting started soon. So yeah, it's been really great. So far, the special guests we've had. A librarian, me. I talked about the e-library.
Yeah, that's great, actually.
Yeah, local writing instructor and council on aging communications specialist Miriam Diamond was our most highly attended. She talked about legacy letters. Library volunteer and therapy dog handler Deb Harrow, along with her therapy dog buddy. We got to, meet and greet, our therapy dog and learn all about what therapy dogs do. Sophie Gordon with the Office of Emergency Management came to talk about emergency preparedness, and it was so well received. We're going to have her back for a separate program just about vital documents. And our next guest, we're taking a break this month, but our next guest in February, I think it's Friday, February 7th at noon, is going to be Keith. So I'm sure that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, Keith is going to talk all about yoga. I'm just so excited to hear his story. And I'm sure people will have questions for him as well. So yeah, I also can't promote Wisdom Cafe without mentioning the free coffee and pastries again. That's a big draw.
No, it is. I mean, you're
Yeah. So
social.
we got the coffee from South Brookline Starbucks and the pastries from the amazing Charlands. And those are provided generously through the Brookline Library Foundation. Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
my
no, that's
my
really
Wisdom Cafe. Yeah.
I love the coffee and the pastries.
Yes. And then our last regular group for older adults that I want to mention is our Council on Aging book group, which is probably our longest running program. I think it's been 20 years, give or take. So even longer than Gentle Chair Yoga. So it's a group that I was lucky enough to inherit from my predecessor, former Putterham Bridge Supervisor, Batya Blumenthal, who used to run the group, and also a number of supervisors before her, because it goes back quite a bit. This book group meets monthly on the third or fourth Monday of the month at 2 to 3. And we read a variety of titles across genres. We do cozy mysteries and fluffy romance, and then we'll do like gritty graphic novels and dense photography books, fiction, nonfiction, everything in between. So we have a strong core group of about 5 attendees. It is a smaller group. We see them pretty much every time. And there's definitely an overlap with the Gentle Chair Yoga crowd. So it's great to see those folks over and over. But new attendees are always welcome. We always end up having an interesting discussion.
What are
Yeah.
you in the meeting room? Is this
The
all
meeting room. Yeah, that's pretty much our one and only spot for programming
right?
here.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering.
Putterham. Yeah, so it's our kind of, back room. And then, but actually, like if it is nice outside, we do have a nice little lawn that the other libraries don't really have. And we can accommodate a lot more people out there. And I do like to utilize that space in like the spring, summer, and fall. Yeah.
You
And
keep
then
saying, yeah, that's great.
yeah. And then the other things I might want to highlight are special events. So I already covered all the regular programs, but we do have special events for seniors that do crop up. For example, like I said, we're having Sophie Gordon from the Office of Emergency Management back on Friday, January 24th at noon to talk about vital documents. And on Monday, February 24th at 3:30 after Council on Aging Book Group, we're having Marie Foster, who is joining us today, from the Senior Center and the Council on Aging to talk about transportation around Brookline, which I know that my community has a lot of questions about. And I know Marie is going to be your very next episode guest for episode 51, so you won't want to miss it.
No, I agree with you. That's and that's the key is how do we get there? But
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to hear about it. I take the 51 bus every day, so I want to know what other options are, I guess.
absolutely. The yeah, if I take a car, it's plenty of parking, right?
Yes, yeah, there is plenty of parking. We've heard that we're out of the three libraries have the most accessible and easy parking.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, it's right on the side of the building.
I have parked at all three.
Yeah. Okay, good. So you can confirm. Yeah. So programs for all ages also exist. I am a big fan of intergenerational programming, which means people of all ages can attend. Young families can attend, solo adults can attend, or attend with friends. Older adults can attend. It's really open to everyone. So we do have regular and we have a regular intergenerational program here at Putterham that's been running for a couple years, and it's really become a staple for our patrons of all ages. It's called Learn Origami, and you can guess, what it's all about. It's led by one of our librarians, Jing Ting, who is an origami expert and just so talented at not only crafting herself, but teaching others how to do it and making it fun for children and adults alike. You don't need any experience. You don't need to bring your own supplies. It's all provided. So that one happens monthly. It's always on a Saturday at 2, but it can kind of like scatter throughout the month. So our next one is January 18th. It's coming up. And you can check out our website's calendar for future sessions. Thank you, Jingting, for providing such an awesome program for our community. Also, most of the special events that I organize, as opposed to programs organized specifically for youth services, are all ages friendly or intergenerational. So I'm pretty much in charge of adult/all ages programming, and I really like to highlight, that all ages demographic. Our demographic here is largely older adults along with young families. And we know when we are having a really fun special event like alpacas coming, everyone's going to want to come. So I try to find things where, there's something for everyone to enjoy. A few of these are coming up. So I have an induction cooking chocolate program with Mothers Out Front on Valentine's Day, Friday, February 14th at 2. A Learn Ukulele program with ukulele expert Julie Stepanek on Monday, March 10th at 6. Ukuleles provided. And alpacas, of course, like I mentioned, the alpacas are coming back. All about alpacas with Harvard Alpaca Ranch. And yes, they bring real alpacas. Are coming on Saturday, April 5th at 10.
Oh, really?
Yes, more to come. But that one we had over 100 last year, over 100 people.
I believe it.
Outside. Yeah, thankfully it was not raining and we could have it outside because I don't think our meeting room could handle all those people and 2 big alpacas. So hopefully no rain again this year. And then outside of the library, but in South Brookline, of course, I can really only speak for the Putterham Library and our offerings myself, but I know as someone who's here pretty much daily, and values partnerships within the community, especially in South Brookline, that we have some of the great underrated Brookline gems here. This last November, we collaborated with the historical Allendale Farm for a walking tour program, which was educational and totally scenic. It was on a beautiful fall morning. I know that they have seasonal events throughout the year for the public, which sound incredible. So I would like to, promote them as well. They're also out here and, really like a staple of, the Brookline community and the, greater Boston farm community. There's also Walnut Hill Cemetery right behind the library, where we're hoping to host a program in the future. But it is open for the public to explore, to walk. It's very immersed in nature and local history. it's really something to admire. It's also historical itself. And I have to mention Cheryl again. Cheryl Bakery is where we get our goodies for programming here. I'd like to encourage everyone to support them. They're an amazing local business with the best chocolate babka like you might
Yep.
ever taste. It's very
Oh,
good.
no, it's great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so if you wanted to do a new program from the senior center, would it be reasonable for someone to come to you and say, we were thinking of doing a program at either here or that involved, both senior center and
Yeah, definitely. I am,
they
like I
talk
said,
about?
I really treasure like our partnership with the senior center. So absolutely anything that we can collaborate on or share, I'm very much down to do. Yeah.
And the intergenerational, what
Mhm.
kind of programs? The one you mentioned one. Um,
Yeah. So Origami's regular. That's like our regularly occurring intergenerational program. It's once a month. But then like those special events that we try to do once a month as well. Like I said, I tried to plan for all ages or
yeah,
intergenerational. I joke that like the holy trinity of programming for all ages is food, animals, and crafting. Because I find that that's just consistently popular with every age group you could imagine. Anytime we can have Masonabon here, we've had owls, we've had like reptiles. We find that, people of all ages will
absolutely.
come by themselves, come with friends, bring the whole family. It just really brings people out. And then origami, we've seen as a crafting program, has just been hugely popular for all ages. It's really nice to see, neighbors coming together across age demographics and all learning how to do something together, like, make art out of folded paper. And then food, of course. It's just easy. It's just easy to do a food program and get people to come, especially when you have an amazing bakery nearby like Charlands. So yeah, we've been really happy to partner with them. And like I said, it's just the neighborhood we have out here is a lot of young families, and on the other side of the coin, a lot of older adults.
Right.
So, when we do bring an event to the library, I want it to be something that anyone from the neighborhood and beyond could come to and enjoy. So that's really what I'm looking for as the person who's responsible for the all ages programming here.
So another question, considering the older adults, oh, no, not even the older adults. Accessibility. I think Putterham is pretty accessible, but I'm just
Yeah. We are the smallest library location of the three in Brookline. We don't have the same capacity for large scale programs that the Brookline Village Library might have with their Hudeman Hall. Our programs typically take place in our meeting room, where the capacity is about 40-ish people, give or take. Or if it's nice outside, like I said, we can go to the lawn and have like a beautiful outside program. As far as limitations, we don't have any limitations on the like number of programs we can have. Of course, we have a budget to work with. But for type of program, we as program planners try to offer a variety of programs that are accessible and for all members of the public. Exercise, music, author events, virtual events. Virtual is a big piece of this and accessibility. Food,
absolutely.
animals, crafts. And as far as our parking lot, we've got about 15 spots. I will say on Friday mornings with gentle chair yoga, that is not enough. And we see, there's cars up and down the street.
All right.
So we could do more spots for Friday mornings, but most of the time, we
Yes,
do get good feedback on our amount of parking. And yeah, I mean, I'd love for more senior center programs. I'd totally be on board with that, and I'll be in touch with Jamie and Maria. But as far as accessibility for older adults, and for those with disabilities, our public space is all one floor, which goes a long way for accessibility. Not having to worry about stairs or elevators, which can break down or go out of service.
absolutely.
Yeah, we make sure that our space is generally ADA compliant, plenty of room in the rows between shelves and seating for people who might be in wheelchairs or with walkers to get through. We also have, like I said, the easiest parking of the library locations, so people can generally just park right on the side of our building. They don't
Yes,
have
you
to
wouldn't
walk a
try
long
that at
way.
Coolidge's.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't.
Or,
They
or
generally,
at, or
yeah,
at Brookline Village, right?
yeah. Well, they generally don't need to walk a whole long way after parking to get to the building
Right.
itself. And then as far as programming, we do offer virtual attendance through Zoom for both Gentle Chair Yoga and for Council on Aging Book Group. So that does get heavily utilized. It is an essential for people who may not be able to leave home for whatever reason or get around as easily as others. With that, we also provide the option of captions through Zoom, which may be helpful or even necessary to people who are hard of hearing or deaf. We also have entrance doors and restroom doors with automatic buttons, and 3 of our restrooms are fully accessible and equipped with changing tables. That being said, there's always room for improvements. We are in an old building, an old building that in some ways hasn't seen a whole bunch of updates since the early 60s. So we largely do what we can as staff to step in and help patrons when something isn't accessible. For example, a lot of our electrical outlets are low to the ground, not accessible to anyone who has trouble bending down or getting low. I'm more than happy to get down on the floor and plug things in for people. I know that others on my staff are as well. But if we were to get a full building renovation someday, that would definitely be on.
That would be nice.
Yes.
That would actually,
I'll
but
just
that sounds good. But that
yes,
happens to be.
I'll try to speed it up here because I know I'm running out of time.
No, that's all right. But that's we can always
Yeah.
we get
So
everything in. So Zoom
besides,
and Zoom, a lot of your programs are on Zoom. Each of these.
yeah. And even largely, like if you look at our calendar, just our general calendar that goes across locations, you'll see a lot of virtual programming. Not necessarily run by me, but others on the programming committee that people from anywhere can attend. So besides me, who's running these programs, like I said, Jingting runs their origami, Douglas helps out with Gentle Chair Yoga, and of course, there's our amazing program presenters and partners like Keith. But in general, organizing and leading adult or all ages programming at Putterham is my responsibility. However, I am part of a larger team with the Public Library of Brookline, the Adult Programming Committee. And like I said, we do take on a lot more virtual programs, just largely as an organization outside of Putterham. So we support each other across departments. We provide enriching programming for everyone across Brookline, and I'm really lucky to be part of that team. Older adults can communicate with me directly through email, goday@minlib.net or goday@minlib.net. It's, G like ginger and then my last name. I hope if they see me in person as well, either at a program or just going about daily business, they won't hesitate to say hi. I've made a lot of wonderful connections in the community that I'm really lucky to be a part of. I also live in Brookline, so I really value, living in the community I serve and getting to know my neighbors. So please don't be a stranger. And just the last thing I want to say is thank you so much to Putterham's wonderful community of patrons for welcoming me with open arms, to our staff and volunteers here who make all of the service possible, and of course to you and Brookline Can and the Age Friendly Cities Committee for the opportunity to share all of this today.